Thanks, Joe. I really want to thank Joe. If you don't know Joe, we were all worried as speakers that he was going to take all of our speaking points, so we're pretty glad about that. As Joe mentioned, we're a pretty small company, and I wanted to kind of give a sense as to why we think this is important and how this provides a lot of benefit for us. Internet of Things, big market. I mean, you can't go outside now without getting hit in the face with how big of a market it's going to be. Trillions, billions, whatever it's going to happen. A little bit of hype around that likely as well. But I think, the hard thing about it is that it's pretty darn confusing. What does it actually mean to your product strategy? What does it mean to me next week? What does it mean to my 78-year-old mother or my 14-year-old daughter? And so as you think about that, especially if you're a company, whether it's a startup or a larger company, you really got to think about how's this going to impact my strategy and what the products are going to be around that. And so I think the AllSeen Alliance ends up being very important because it does provide an opportunity where people can work together. Not necessarily because they're going to be adversaries in this market, but because there's a really big opportunity. And by working together, you can enable things that maybe otherwise you couldn't enable. A lot of times if you look at a market like this, it's kind of like who's going to get ahead, what's going to happen, but if you don't have a lot of people working together, it's hard to move a lot of things forward. Let's all remember what the I in IoT stands for. It's the internet, right? And the internet was probably the last, kind of fertile ground that had that same sort of idea. It's going to be a trillions and trillions of dollar market. And then all of a sudden, some openness happened. People were able to build upon that. And then we kind of have the huge, massive ecosystems that we have today. And I think if you look at what the AllSeen Alliance is really looking to do and what the IoT opportunity is, I think it's very similar to what you have here and what can happen. And I think in any of these sorts of situations, the people that are doing vertically integrated solutions will solve problems for some small set of people. I think the Internet of Things, I actually don't think it's a market. I think it's a capability that's going to be on almost every device and that people are going to look at being able to take advantage of. And so I think it's going to grow outside of the point solutions that are out there today. So Joe talked about the fact that we're a little bit of a small company, so I was going to talk a little bit about how this impacts us and talk a little bit about the products that we're doing. As he mentioned, we're small. We're 8 people, right? And we're focused on networking. So our company is all about networking. So we know lots about TCP/IP. We know lots about how do you connect these devices and how that plumbing works. And so we want to be able to provide that capability for lots of people who maybe aren't networking experts. So sort of the idea of kind of cloud or service-defined networking. And so our first product is really, hey, how do you allow people to take advantage of IoT and add it into anything? And so what we've done is we've came up with an IoT kit, and the first one is actually for the Raspberry Pi market, and it's going to be fully AllSeen enabled.
Bob's a maker, a developer, and he loves to travel. A while back, Bob programmed a cool Raspberry Pi application to feed his fish Sam. And that worked great when Bob was home, but the problem was, whenever Bob went away on trips, he had to find someone else to care for Sam. Well, one average morning, Bob discovered the Weaved IoT Kit developer site. It was just what Bob was looking for, and Bob was stoked. It had all the software and cloud services Bob needed to turn Sam's feeder into a robust IoT device. A downloadable app so he could control and monitor his fish feeder remotely and securely. Peer-to-peer connection services for private two-way communication over the internet. And even push notifications so he would know if Sam was in trouble. Now, as it turns out, other people needed Bob's feeder too. With the Weaved IoT Kit for Raspberry Pi, Bob was able to scale his little home-based project into a profitable company. And now he and Sam are doing just fine. With literally millions of makers out there, we're guessing there are more up-and-coming developers just like Bob who could use the IoT Kit by Weaved.
So if you want to get a sense of what this is, we're actually demoing it outside there. But in terms of what Joe talked about in terms of collaboration, I mean, we're doing that with one of the other AllSeen members, a company called Vadums, and they do a lot of embeddable software. So we work with them to come up with this product. We're doing similar things in the whole IP camera area with another member company called Key. And so I think these are the things where it really makes sense, where there's a lot of big opportunity, and you don't necessarily want to fight all these battles on your own, and if you can partner with people, it makes a lot of sense. If you look at the schedule today, there's lots of opportunities to learn about what AllSeen is doing. There's a good introductory session, or if you're looking for, hey, how do I implement something on a particular platform or something like that, there's different breakout sessions for that. And so with that, I'm going to hand it off to Danny, or I guess I'll hand it to Joe, who will introduce Danny.
Thank you.